Oh boy, here's a juicy video for you guys on Echoes of Aincrad. So, of course, the system trailer is out, but there's a lot more interesting things to talk about. Almost like 2 weeks ago, Echoes of Aincrad developer is accepting Q&As, questions and all that. You can ask what questions you want to ask, and they will choose what questions is the best, and then they would just, pick it and answer it. So there is the Q&As, and I think most of them are really interesting. So welcome to more Echoes of Aincrad video, and we'll be talking about the Q&As right now. So no sugarcoating it, let's start with the first question. And yeah, there are actually some people who's asking this question. Let's get straight into it. The first question is, why didn't Kirito become the main character? And yeah, an interesting question to finally ask. So here's the answer from Futami. I was particular about the experience of what I would be at that moment of the Aincrad edition. Not Kirito, but myself. So listen, some of the what's it called? The translation are a bit rough because this source is actually from the Dengeki Online itself. So it's pretty nice, or if you watch the stream and you understand Japanese, then it's a lot easier for you there as well. For the second question, what I want from the SAO game is to have an SAO experience. Can you experience it now? In what part can you feel the experience is particular? And then Futami answers, the impatience and the frustration of that moment. In the world of death games, you will fight. Is it an experience? I think that you can actually experience the feeling of being in that situation. So basically what he's trying to say is that the sense of urgency and the impatience is what makes this game SAO. It's what makes this game a death game, and basically it brings you into the game and makes you feel more immersed than ever. And I think from that answer alone, it's nice. Sometimes, Futami can be sometimes he can be a bit over-promising things. But, I would like to believe that he's saying the truth here because the trailer looks amazing. The next question. What is the point of a commitment that has not been in the word stage of SAO games so far? Please let me know if you have any particular views on the background. And there's two, I don't know why, it's either Yawata or Hachiman. Of course, kanji can go either ways. So the size is not completely the same, but it is deeply and interpreted the settings of the first and second floors of Sora Online drawn in the original and the anime. In the first floor, grassland, forests, and wetlands are spreading, and in the image of Tower of the Strategy Zone towering in the distance. And in the second floor, it is an environment surrounded by rocks and sands, so I would like you to experience the change. So from the trailer, we already see the contrast between the first and second floor. They never say specifically which one is which, but you can tell the difference from the very grassy place to more of a sandy, a desert place. And yeah, that's for the first two floors. For the next question, can you enjoy this game when you played in the past game series, SAO Last Recollection or Fractured Daydream Feeling? So basically, the question is asking that, can you enjoy this game with how much difference it has compared to Last Recollection or Fractured Daydream? Utami then answers, I'm glad you think it's completely different. Echoes of Aincrad is created with the theme of beginning experience of I was in that place at that time. So it is different from the past work where Kirito's role was the main character. However, if you like the worldview of SAO, I think you can enjoy either way. I think that's a very good answer. So again, we're basically resetting back to Aincrad again with a new character, and that's also just us at that position, and we can experience SAO with our own character. And from that viewpoint, I think it's amazing because, again, we have been waiting for moments like this where SAO feels like SAO rather than the actual story of the SAO. So it's really nice to have a different perspective of it, and yeah, it's great. The next question, it's a bit rough. Even if you're not good at parries or perfect timing mechanics, will you be able to enjoy it if you choose the difficulty level, the specific difficulty level. And Hajiman or Yamata or whatever person said, I think it's alright. We have 4 types of difficulty: story, normal, hard, and very hard. If you choose the story or normal, you may be defeated to some extent, but I think you can enjoy it without problems if you strength level and weapons. We also have mechanism and skill that reduce the difficulty of success in parries and successful timing mechanics or whatever it does says here. Okay, again, that one's actually just a very good question for those who are not that big of a gameplay itself. So yeah, I think the game can be a little bit more forgiving if you choose at the story level. So if you're there for the story and you don't want to dive too deep on the gameplay, you can choose story or normal. I think that's already a good choice. Next question: if you can't get the last attack bonus of any boss battle, then will you not be able to get the last bonus thing at the very end for the rest of your life? And then Hajiman then says, there is no system such as last attack bonus, but most once you have complete the quest, you can challenge the boss again. This kind of saddens me a bit because of course the last attack bonus is the biggest part of every single floor boss in SAO game, or basically if you watch SAO then you know that the last attack gives you the biggest bonus. So not to have it here is, well, what's it called, sad, I guess I would say. It's a bit disappointing, but then again, without any co-op or online, it wouldn't really work the best anyway, because why would you want to why would you lose to an AI? Maybe that's a higher risk and higher reward or whatever stuff like that, but I'm not too sad because this game has no online yet. We'll talk about it after this. Is there a co-sleeping event? Well, if you guys know any SAO games, there is always, or most of the time, there are sleeping event where you just sleep with the characters and you have a deep talk with them. And Futami's answer is interesting. If there is a request, I would like to think about it in the future, but not in this game. Since it is the story of the beginning of the first and the second floor, I think it is strange to flinch that at the start. And I agree. I hardly agree that to have a sleeping event in the first 2 floors will kill the tension of the very deep and dark story element in the story, in the game basically. So good decision. I hope he does not think about it. If you want to think about it, maybe when you reach like floor 25 or something like that, then maybe sure, you can bring that there, since maybe everyone can settle in. But as of now, do not do anything with the co-sleeping event. Next question: will the number of weapon increase? For example, long-range weapons such as spear, bow, gun. I don't know why they asked this. And Futami simply said, no, there is no information that has been announced. He can't answer. Simple and very short. Next question: are there any change to the first-person perspective? Or basically they're asking, is there any first-person POV? I want to see this beautiful Aincrad world. And Hachiman or Yamata answered, you cannot change the perspective of the first person or third person yet, but you can change from 4 types of camera distance as an option. So if you want a sense of realism, we recommend you keep your camera close to the main character, and you want to see the whole battle, you can just push your camera back a little bit further away, which I talk about in previous videos already. There are 2 that I have shown, but in here they said 4, or maybe it's just translation issue. So yeah, there is no first person. If you guys want to enjoy the world in first person, there are first person on like Last Recollection, on Alicization Licorice. You can see the world in basically first person view, and I think it looks fine. But in here, there's no modes for that yet. Next question: can I buy a house? Do you have a cooking skills? And Futami answered, there is range of up to 2 floors, so we cannot go that far just yet. I want to think about it if the series continue for a long time. So basically, you cannot buy houses, or you can't like cook stuff yet. I mean, cooking, maybe there are some elements, maybe the translation is a little bit rough here, but for buying a house, of course, you're still at the first 2 floors. I think buying a house will defeat the purpose of like, you know, your sense of urgency needing to complete the game. So yeah, again, great choice from Futami and the team here. You know, if you want those kind of takes, maybe once you reach like floor 15 plus. The same for the co-sleeping event as well. Next question. Will the original character of any game version appear? Philia, Rain, any other characters from Fatal Bullet, Licorice, Last Recollection? Futami answers simply by saying, for information on which character appear, please refer to the information that comes from the official. Therefore, there is no any original game character yet. And I think, in my opinion, they comes best if they're just a DLC or something like that, an additional character. I don't want them to be a main focus in any of the story, because then at that point we're just coming back to the gameverse, and I want this to be a completely new thing. So I hope they understand that you know, it can be a fan service by bringing the original gameverse character in Echoes of Aincrad, but I don't think it's the best choice for story for what story they can tell later on. So next question. What are the plans for implementing online and multiplayer? This is the question that everybody wants to know, and the answer is simple but very strong. Futami says there are no plans for that at the moment. I would like to consider it if the game sells well. If the game sells well. So if you guys hear this properly, if the game sells well, you might have a chance that they will work on online and multiplayer feature. And hearing that really comes to my mind. But then again, it can be like false promises. We do not know yet. But them saying this, there's actually a chance for multiplayer or online to come true, you know, and it's nice. So if the game sells well, again, there is a chance that we might see multiplayer or online co-op, some sort like that. So whatever happens later on, we'll see. I think the game will sell well, personally, since, well, the marketing has been going crazy. The decision of how the story and the gameplay works has been different as well to old SAO games. So I think this will be probably the biggest SAO game to ever succeed, or maybe just shy behind Fatal Bullet. Alright, next question. Will there be a Nintendo Switch version? And the answer is pretty simple. There are no current plans. Nothing has yet been decided about what will happen if it sells. And fair enough. So if the game sells well, it will go to Nintendo Switch. It might take a while because, like, games, for example, like Alicization Licorice or maybe Last Recollection, it takes time before they release it on the Switch. But Fracture Daydream releases in the Switch at the same time as other consoles as well. So for this one specifically, you have to wait if the game sells well or not, and hopefully it does, so Switch players can play it on this specific console as well. Next question. I want to play the first time Deft game mode, but if the difficulty is very hard, can the first look up killing of the unreasonable level that cannot be avoided occur? Whatever that says in the translation. Right, for this specific question, it is very difficult to understand, so either you guys can just try to decipher it on yourself by the source on the link in the description, or, you know, just try to understand it yourself here. Let's just skip to the next one. Is there any endgame content? Both Hachiman or Yawata and Futami answers this actually. Details will be announced later, but there are some end contents that can be done considerably. The current playtime is 30 to 40 hours for the main story clear, and if you include subquests and tricks or other subquests, you can play for more than 50 hours. There are dozens of subquests. Futami then added, there are many subquests that take about 30 or 40 minutes, so I think that the volume will be satisfied. I am particular about what kind of world floor 1 and floor 2 are, and when I walk in the field, I can find tips that knows about the world. So I think that I can enjoy it more if you can look at elements other than the battles. Now, one thing in any video games struggles at is the subquest most of the time. So seeing from the past SAO games, subquest has been very mediocre. to say the least. So it can get redundant if it's just another fetch quest. So hopefully the sub quest is at least somewhat good. Next question: what are the plans for additional items after the third floor? Basically, the DLC. Will they be planning on making a DLC for the third floor? And Futami's answer is also as nice as the multiplayer one. Basically, what he's saying is that he wants you to experience the first and the second floor because it's a big floor, and if the game sells well and it does amazing, he's gonna consider a third floor DLC. Okay, and then for the next question, what are the DLC plan? Yawata or Hachiman says the expansion DLC is scheduled to be released within 2026. It is a new side story that allows you to enjoy the world of Echoes of Aincrad more. So please look forward on the detailed announcement. So that's the whole question. Yes, most of them are really rough and really hard to understand. There are other people that may decipher it or may, translate it better. So you can just stick around on like X, Twitter, or something like that. But this is the rough Q&A that I have been presenting here, and it's really nice to see them very hopeful and basically promising stuff that they basically can deliver, hopefully. So yeah, I'm really glad this Q&A is basically more straightforward than I thought, like asking if the online will there be online, will there be third floor, or some stuff like that, and they answer pretty nicely as well. But hopefully the game did well, of course, not just by the numbers of how much it sells, but of course how the game plays as well. If the game is amazing, I hope it's at the very least at 80 out of 100 in Metacritic. I think if it does that well, I think the game will shine. So yeah, those are the Q&As. I'm sorry if I'm blabbermouthing everywhere because it is very difficult to talk with this very rough translation. So if you want to correct me on some things, you can comment down below. So that's just it then. If you guys enjoyed this video, give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on to the next one. Goodbye.